Health Today is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance, agent represented by BGI Insurance Limited.
In this edition of Health Today, dietitian Esther Selman tells us how to decode the nutrition facts label on the foods you buy. There is a ticket to good health on virtually every package of food you buy. If you examine the back or sometimes the side of your product, you'll see the nutrition facts food label. Dietitian Esther Selman tells us this label gives us information about nutrients in our food. Our bodies need adequate amounts of the right nutrients to function properly, so it's useful to know what you're putting into your body.
It's important for us to make wise choices, and you want to make sure that when you go to the supermarket that you choose a food that is appropriate to your lifestyle or your eating pattern.
Don't be confused by the numbers and the percentages. She says there are several key things shoppers must pay attention to when they pick up a product. First, serving size. It's important because all the nutrition information on the label is based upon one serving.
So what this is really saying is that this is telling you how many nutrients in this entire product. But we're going to start first with nutrition facts. Below the nutrition facts, you will see serving size. Serving size in the product that I have says a cup. And then it says servings. Below that, it says servings per package. And it's saying it's about 9. So what this is really saying is that this particular product has 9 servings, and each person would get 1 cup as a serving.
She adds you should pay attention to the servings because you must manage your portions to stay healthy. Next in line are calories. Calories are a measure of the amount of energy in food, so we must ensure that the calories we consume are equal to the energy we use.
In this particular product, it's also based on 2,500 calories, and you may not be at 25. That's for some person who is probably very active, probably lifting weights or working out in the gym, someone who is training for a marathon or something like that. You will be consuming 25, or a male who has a larger body mass, hence that person will be consuming 2,500 calories. And I know that this is crop over time, and a lot of people are in the gym, and a lot of people want to make sure that they monitor and watch their calories. So for sure, those ladies who want to make sure that their tummies get flat, that's for my friend who was at the hairdresser with me yesterday, who wants to get her tummy get flat for that costume, then you would not be at 2,000 calories. You'll probably be consuming 1,500 calories. All right, but you don't want to starve yourself. You want to eat well and moderation, and make sure you exercise.
We move on to some trouble areas for most people: total fat, saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. The dietitian warns that if these are not monitored closely, they can lead to chronic diseases, hypertension, diabetes, strokes, and cancer.
It says saturated fat 0. So that is what you want. You really want the ideal per serving. As it relates to total fat, you want it to be less than 3. And for saturated fat, you need it to be less than 1. Then we have cholesterol. Here in this particular product, cholesterol is 0. And cholesterol is 0 because it is a starch, and starches really do not contain any cholesterol, and they're usually low in fat. So that's the reason why these numbers are so low. But if you were for that person who would have picked up a burger, then you would have seen that the total fat and the saturated fat would be much higher than the numbers that we have here. Okay? Now, sodium here in my product says 200 milligrams. And when you see 200 milligrams, that product means that it has more than the recommended amount to be considered low sodium. If you are looking for a product that is low sodium, you need to look for less than 140. As it relates to total fat, just let's go back up there. Total fat means that it needs to be less than 3 grams, and saturated fat means it will be less than 1 gram. Trans fat, you need to aim for 0 trans fat.
The label then highlights the level of potassium in the cereal. Potassium is a mineral that aids the proper functioning of tissues and cells in the body, but it must be carefully managed because it can affect some health conditions.
Now, there are some persons who may be hypertensive, or some persons who may have kidney problems. And if you're an individual with kidney problems, you definitely need to meet with your registered dietitian after you would have gone to your doctor and make sure that they plan a diet for you, watching out for your sodium intake, watching out for your potassium intake, looking at your phosphorus intake and your protein intake. So that's really important for someone who is experiencing any renal impairment, be it acute renal failure, chronic renal failure, or if you are in stage renal disease. Those are the conditions that you need to really take your diet seriously.
That's followed by carbohydrates, dietary fibers, and sugar. Salmon says you must pay close attention to your carbohydrates and sugar, but when it comes to dietary fiber, the more fiber the product has, the better it is.
Carbohydrate intake, this one says 44. The average, the ideal should be 15 per serving. So fiber is very helpful in taking care. It's like a one shot looking at for everything. So if you're hypertensive, fiber is essential. If you have a high cholesterol or hyperlipidemias, you want to make sure you have enough fiber in your diet. And if you have any form of diabetes, you want to ensure that you get your fiber, or just good health, because it helps prevent constipation too. So overall, fiber is good. So when you go to the grocery store and you're reading your labels for fiber, anything above 3, but if it has more than 5, then that's considered high fiber. So you want to aim for that higher number. And sugars, you aim for less than 5 grams.
For proteins, choose foods that are lower in fat, whether it be meat, poultry, dry beans, or milk. Make choices that are lean, low fat, or fat free, and make sure you load up on vitamins. Salmon says products with more than a 20% daily value of vitamins are good. So now you know it's not too difficult to read a nutrition food label, so get into the habit of finding out what's in the food you eat so you can enjoy better health.